Zombies are a mainstay in pop culture and mainstream entertainment media, and that of course includes video games as well. In 2021 and the months and years beyond, there are a number of zombie games coming out that have been officially unveiled by their developers and publishers, and here we're going to talk about a few such games. Before we go ahead, a quick request. We upload new videos every single day, and your subscription matters a lot. So please consider subscribing and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. With that out of the way, let's begin. Back 4 Blood. To fill the gaping void left behind by Left 4 Dead, a team at Turtle Rock Studios headed by the creators of Valve's beloved franchise is gearing up to bring us more of that co-op zombie slaying action. Back 4 Blood looks like it's going to be the perfect game to scratch that itch, and everything we've seen of the game so far has been very encouraging. Fingers crossed it manages to live up to expectations. After the Fall. But the premise is interesting, as the one that After the Fall is promising, it's hard not to take notice of this game. Set in a wintry post-apocalypse world where a deadly outbreak brought society to a halt in the 1980s, players are going to square off against all manner of zombies and monstrosities, all in VR. After the Fall promises a shared world, a cinematic campaign, and plenty of in-game content to keep players engaged thereafter, and if it can actually make good on those promises, it's going to be worth keeping an eye on. A Way to Be Dead. Horror games that can properly utilize their setting for a tense multiplayer experience are experiences unlike anything else, and on paper, that's what A Way to Be Dead is promising to be. 4 survivors try to escape from a zombie-infested hospital while a single deranged doctor tries to hunt them down, and zombies wreak havoc everywhere else all the while. It's a unique premise, and one that could be especially interesting if it can make all of its elements work in harmony. Undying. Unlike many other games on this list, Undying isn't using its post-apocalyptic zombie-infested setting to deliver high-octane bloody action, but instead to tell a compelling story. Putting the limelight on a mother and her son, Undying will tell the story of how the mother, who is infected after a zombie bite and is edging ever closer to death, must ensure the survival of her son and teach him everything he needs to know about his harsh new reality. It's an inherently fascinating premise, and it's definitely caught our eye. The Day Before. Announced not that long ago, open-world MMO The Day Before is making big promises. Its meaty gameplay reveal promises a large world rife with dangers where players must scavenge to find resources and build up a community of survivors while taking on hordes of zombies in a post-pandemic world. The Day Before is giving off some serious The Division vibes as well. And yes, that means there's plenty of skepticism whether the final game will actually end up looking and playing like what's been shown off so far. We're cautiously optimistic, so here's hoping that the impressive reveal does not turn out to be a misleading one. Dead Island 2. Dead Island 2 was announced all the way back at the beginning of the 8th console generation, and we've now entered the 9th. At this point, it's right on the brink of becoming vaporware. It's been hit with multiple delays, and multiple developers have taken over and then dropped the project over the years. Currently, it's in the hands of Dambuster Studios, but with no updates or footage on the game in a long time, it's hard to judge exactly how it's going to turn out. If and when it launches, we'll certainly be keeping an eye on it. Let's just hope it does launch in the not-too-distant future. No More Room in Hell 2. Here's another interesting co-op zombie-killing game to keep an eye on. No More Room in Hell 2, building off the success of its fan-made source mod predecessor, is promising some intense undead slaying. 8 players fight against harsh circumstances in non-linear and dynamically changing maps, taking on hordes of zombies and fighting for survival as they scavenge for everything from weapons to ammo. An early access release is on the docket, so players will have a chance to try out the game and see how it's coming together before its full release. State of Decay 3. Undead Labs have delivered 2 solid, if unremarkable, survival games with the first 2 State of Decay games, and now they're hard at work on a third one. We've seen nothing of State of Decay 3 so far other than a CG reveal trailer, but there's a few reasons that have us cautiously optimistic about this game. With the full backing of Microsoft as a newly minted first-party studio, Undead Labs will hopefully be able to deliver a much more polished experience that, unlike its predecessors, gets off to a strong start. Hopefully we'll see something of the game in the near future, and hopefully it'll look as good as it should. Dismantle. A very reductionist description of Dismantle would call it a post-apocalypse survival game, but there's a lot going on here that sets it apart. The game puts a lot of its focus on systemic crafting and destruction, where with the right tools, you can break apart pretty much everything you find in the world, and then use that to craft new and better tools. Combining that with deep survival mechanics, base building, open world exploration, activities like farming and hunting and fishing, and what you have is a game that you can potentially spend dozens upon dozens of hours in. Reception during the game's early access period has been very strong, so this is definitely one to keep an eye on. Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil has, over the years, outgrown its zombie roots and become a series about all manner of bioweapons, but that doesn't mean we don't get some good old zombie-slaying action every now and then. As we've seen in the game's trailers, zombies are returning, at least in some capacity, in Resident Evil Village, and hell, some of them are even coming at you with weapons in hand. We're always down for killing more zombies in Resident Evil games, so we're quite excited about those encounters. Dying Light 2. Techland crafted a solid, enjoyable open world infested with terrifying zombies in Dying Light, especially once they'd fixed most of the game's biggest issues with post-launch updates. And Dying Light 2, based on all outward appearances, looks to be taking things to the next level. With more open-world parkour, more zombies to kill and flee from, and a focus on player choice in the narrative, there's quite a bit here that's piqued our curiosity. That said, delays and development hurdles have played a part in dampening some of the excitement for this game. Hopefully Techland will have some substantial updates to share on how development is going sooner rather than later. The Last Stand Aftermath. The Last Stand Aftermath's blend of its post-apocalyptic setting and action roguelike gameplay sounds instantly appealing. With a focus on player abilities, scavenging for resources, a risk-reward mechanic with mutations, and a mixture of combat and stealth, The Last Stand Aftermath seems to have a lot of interesting stuff going on, all of which sound even more unique with a roguelite framework. Developers Con Artist Games are definitely making a lot of the right promises here, and hopefully the game will do justice to all of those ideas. Synced Off Planet. Tencent's Synced Off Planet has been on our radar since the moment it was first unveiled. Combining tense horde combat, crafting, co-op gameplay, and base building, this PvPvE title looks like the best of the hordes of Days Gone on sci-fi steroids. Taking on zombie cyborgs would have been an exciting prospect with that kind of premise, no matter what, but with the kind of visual fidelity this game is promising, there's even more reasons to be excited. Fall Nation. A mishmash of multiple genres, Fall Nation looks like an interesting prospect. Role-playing mechanics, an overworld map, first-person shooter combat, and real-time tactics elements thrown in here and there are promising to combine into what's looking like a very unique game. It sounds like a very interesting concept on paper, so here's hoping developers 5X Games can do justice to those ideas with equally good execution. The Wicked. There's an undeniable appeal to top-down shooters when they're done right, so it's no surprise that The Wicked is looking like a game that might be worth following based on what we've seen of it. Combat looks punchy and precise, with damage determined by where your bullets impact your enemies, and the addition of co-op only serves to make things even more interesting. Add to that, elements such as factions, vehicles, loot, and more, and The Wicked might just have more than enough content to keep us occupied. So, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you liked this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.